anger in America and fear in Afghanistan. That's the atmosphere in the days after the U.S. military completed its withdrawal from Afghanistan.
The President of the United States under fire for failing to deliver all Americans and the Afghans who aided the American war effort, while the country's Christians are in hiding and praying for protection. 19 years, 10 months, and 23 days after the U.S. mission in Afghanistan began, Major General Chris Donahue, commander of the 82nd Airborne Division, was the last American soldier to leave Afghan soil shortly before midnight in Kabul on Monday.
There are still a small number of Americans, under 200, and likely closer to 100, who remain in Afghanistan and want to leave.
But just 2 weeks ago, in an interview with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos, the president promised to stay until every American, including Afghan allies and their families, were out.
If there's American citizens left, we're going to stay till we get them all out.
Now, with U.S. forces out, the question is, will Afghanistan become a terrorist safe haven again? The Taliban says it will not allow the country to be a launching pad for terror attacks, but many experts believe their takeover is a boost for terror groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
And unfortunately, going to see a massive boost in terror recruitment and radicalization based on the belief that jihadists in Afghanistan first defeated the Soviet Union, and now they defeated the United States.
And the ramifications are already reverberating, especially for Afghanistan's religious minority groups. At a safe house in Kabul, Jayuddin, not his real name, has been in hiding along with 12 other Afghans since the Taliban seized control of the city nearly 3 weeks ago.
One of us is always awake during the night, always walking around and praying. So if the Taliban should come and knock on our door, we should alert everyone.
In an exclusive interview with CBN News, Jayuddin and the others, who are part of Afghanistan's very small Christian community, told us they have no passports, no U.S. government-issued exit papers, and right now see their hopes of escape diminish.
We had many plans for preaching the gospel with other brothers and sisters, but then the Taliban took control so quickly. It happened so fast.
And now they've been marked by the Taliban.
Every day I receive a phone call from a private number, and the person warns me that if he sees me again, he will behead me.
While Jayuddin says he's not afraid of dying, he's asking the world to pray for his country.
We are praying for each other that the Lord would put his angels around our house for our protection and safety.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, private evacuation efforts are helping thousands escape Afghanistan, despite what one ministry calls deliberate interference by the U.S. State Department.
Yeah, it's staggering, actually. That's not stopping them from trying to get people out. National security correspondent Caitlin Burke has more on what's now considered Afghanistan's version of the Underground Railroad.
The State Department says the mission in Afghanistan is complete. The focus now shifting to diplomacy. But for the hundreds of American citizens and thousands of Afghan allies still trying to get out of the country, the war isn't over.
People are dying right now, and many more will die because they can't get out of there. They're trapped.
President Biden touted the U.S. evacuation effort as the largest of its kind. While that may be true, thousands who should have gotten out were turned away. Representative Michael McCall worked for days to evacuate 250 Christian orphans in an Afghan girls' choir.
They had visas. They had a private plane waiting for them. The Taliban actually let them through. And then our own United States government turned them away after sitting there for a day, back to the Taliban.
Joel Richardson with Global Catalytic Ministries says their rescue efforts faced what felt like deliberate interference each step of the way from the State Department.
Even to the point where Albania had cleared a plane of refugees and they were in the air, and the State Department refused to let them land. They actually had to turn around and go back. So what you're hearing in the news in terms of this great evacuation versus what we were seeing on the ground, it was night and day.
The bureaucratic holdups and other roadblocks caused by official evacuation channels forced lawmakers like McCall to take matters into their own hands.
Almost running like a parallel government operation to go in and save lives because our own government was not doing an adequate job.
Private operations also bypassing the U.S. government. One of the most successful, known as the Commercial Task Force, was made up of thousands of volunteers. It originally formed to rescue a small group of children. It eventually evacuated more than 5,000 Afghans.
We really tried to target the people that we thought were the highest risk. For anything that, by the Taliban's declaration would be considered a target.
Another well-known operation, Pineapple Express, involved current and former U.S. special operators, aid workers, and intelligence officers. So far, they've brought more than 1,000 people to safety, and their effort is ongoing. Team members saying measures are in place to continue facilitating evacuations. Global Catalytic Ministries will also continue their rescue efforts.
We're essentially establishing an underground railroad. It's a matter of finding a network of safe locations, getting them places where they can sort of lay low in the interim. Little by little, we've run over 50 operations so far.